and welcome to the MBA webinar, Essential Faculty Development. My name is Maya Zelhich, and I'm the Department Chair of Advanced Management Studies. And it is my pleasure to welcome all of you here. It does appear we have a full house. I would imagine that we have approximately more than 60% faculty with us here tonight. And then I would imagine the rest, 40% will be with us next week. So welcome again to this MBA webinar. It is 9 p.m. on the East Coast, and I'm in Florida. And it is 6 p.m. Pacific time, and I appreciate everyone's willingness to come and join us a bit later as we discuss really exciting changes with our MBA program and a few highlights of our PhD program as well. So I am joined here today by my colleagues, Dr. Susan Sazistek, and she is actually a core faculty. And I know that everyone knows Susan a bit better than you know me because as I took over the MBA team late last year, I know that many of you worked with Susan in the past, and she was working on your performance reviews, and some of you had lengthy conversations with Susan, so I know that you're very familiar with her. So Susan, I don't know if you want to just say maybe a few words and greet our audience members.
Sure, I'd love to, Maya. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate you being here. I just wanted to say hello and let you all know that if there's anything you need that I can help you with, please reach out to me. I'm finishing up on the instructional quality review, so I know you've all seen my name come across this year, but if you need help with anything, please call me or email me.
Thank you, Susan.
Sure,
and Susan will also, she volunteered to monitor the chat pod. Any questions that we may have, we would like to address them at the end of the session, and Susan will help us capture some of the questions, and she's also going to capture your name so that way you can get credit for this attendance. I will have Dr. Peggy Sundstrom, who is the lead faculty of our PhD program, speak a little bit longer, kind of in the middle of this presentation. So at that point of time, I will allow her to introduce herself, and Peggy's here with us. And also we have a core faculty on the PhD program with us tonight, Dr. Gloria, and Peggy will introduce both of them, and she'll introduce her program, because some of you may be interested to hear some newest developments with our division, because we actually now have a PhD program, and we have a DM program, and also an MBA. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and get started. And I'm trying to, sometimes this, okay, perfect. So our new MBA is completely launched, and we are very excited. It's been quite a journey, and we feel that our MBA now is very competitive with Ivy League MBAs out there. We put quite a bit of effort into this program. Steve Forbes is featured in the Global Economics and Political Influence course. He is sharing his valuable insight, as many other Forbes advisory members and many other industry experts that we actually, we conducted original interviews with them and incorporated those in our program. We have many classes that have interactive business simulations. We have some online games that our students love as well. We have live RSS feeds in order to incorporate blogs from the industry experts. We have a case study that builds throughout the program. We have videos, original videos from authors, industry experts, and faculty, some original textbooks, and we actually have interviews with those authors. We also have a component of a personal portfolio. So that component is also being used within the program, and some career development tools. So this is a program that we're certainly proud of, and we would like to thank you for your focus on quality control, your focus on details, and making sure that our students have a wonderful experience with this high quality program. Many of you noticed that we're still teaching the old version of MBA. That is the way we rolled it out. So some of you are still finishing up some of the older courses, but one of the reasons why we're meeting here tonight is for you to be exposed to some of the new info and perhaps be aware as to what's out there, because you may express interest to teach some of the new classes that perhaps you haven't taught before. And the slides are just a little bit, it's this little button that navigates the slides is not that obvious, not that visible. You can actually go and Google, this is just a little snapshot of some of the courses we have, but you can actually go to the Ashford website, to the MBA courses, and you can click on some of those individual courses that you may have interest in teaching. If you do, I will need your most recent CV and let me know which course in particular you feel matches your set of expertise. I'm not going to read every single one. I would like to highlight just a few courses that are quite interesting. The Global Economics and Political Influence course is the one that we're featuring. It's a signature course of the program featuring Steve Forbes. We have some of the financial budgeting and financial statement analysis courses that are quite interactive. We have a simulation component in a few of our courses. For example, we have a very interesting course, those of you that are marketing experts, that is a global marketing that is focusing on what global marketers need to know in today's world of business. And one of the ones that is very interesting to me personally, and I'm going to start teaching it quite soon, is the human capital management using applied psychology. So I haven't taught it before, so I can give you some of my feedback as well once I go through it one time at least. But it is quite an interesting course for some of you that have some experience with the study of psychology as well. So that is the course that we're actively looking for some instructors for. The one that I have a very good faculty pool, but I would need to have more faculty members, is the data and decision analytics. So if you have a statistical background, if you have a background in a data analysis, let us know, because that may be the course of interest to you. We have some of the elective courses. Susan, for example, designed the entrepreneur course. Quite interesting, quite engaging. International business course that has a virtual simulation component, and some others. So we're just scratching the surface here. We don't have time to go through each one, but I would like to encourage you to go to the Ashford's MBA website, scroll down, and if you click on these individual courses, you can get yourself familiar with those, and then let us know if there is one in particular that you feel you're very good at, and we're definitely able to review your CV and see if we can get you additional course approvals. Many of you replied to my email over the holiday weekend, so I really appreciate it. In lieu of everything that's happening, I feel that maybe I'm speaking for all of us, that we don't have much of a life, even during the holiday weekends. A lot of us are still at home. But I appreciate all of you that joined the MBA group, MBA club. I appreciate all of you that posted information on the club to our students in your courses. You got my email. If you haven't done that, it's really not a big deal. We're still accepting many members. The club has almost 400 members right now. So this is definitely something to be proud of. So if you can, please post in this group. Let's engage with our students. We want you to be active, and as long as it's not necessarily something that is a self-promotion or something along those lines, we welcome your posts, and we're not really regulating as to what you're posting. Post some relevant content for their future careers, current careers, or something relevant pertaining to the MBA program. With us is also, and I actually saw Sarah is, maybe Sarah, you can say hi in a chat pod, because I wasn't thinking of giving you the mic, for which I apologize. But Sarah is actually going to be conducting an amazing training, MBA capstone course training. And in this course, the students are examining practical application of finance, marketing, human resource management, and information technology. Now, we carefully selected faculty members based on their skill sets for this particular training. However, we don't have enough trainees So if you have not been contacted by us, and based on the description that I have on this slide, if you feel that your qualifications match to what we need, let me know, let me look at your CV, and we can get you into that first training with Sarah. She's amazing. She's going to teach you all you need to know about this business simulation. I will also be part of that training. I don't think I'm going to teach this course per se, but I would like to be very comfortable with this simulation as we start hearing from students. So please, this is a little advertisement for the MBA capstone course. I would say we probably need 3 more faculty members for this training. So just to give you a reference point. Another exciting development, we are launching the Forbes School of Business and Technology Women's Center. And we are having our very first presentation, Live and Lead with Courage. And we have a key speaker who's the best-selling author and the global speaker, Margie Burrell. She's Australian living in Singapore. She's a Forbes contributor. She's a Forbes advisor. She is a best-selling author, as I mentioned. And I witnessed her speak in Bali. I witnessed her speak at many different venues, and she's quite a treat. So I strongly encourage for you to attend. In case there is a question, you don't have to be a lady. We actually welcome all of our gentlemen colleagues. Please come and join us in this celebration. It is a pretty big deal for us. We're actually launching this Women's Center for our school, and we would like to encourage participation. Our Dean, Bob Doherty, will be sharing some of his opening remarks and some of his vision for the center. And we also have quite an inspiring young student, Ms. Geraldine Wilson, who is our alumni, and also she's a doctoral candidate, and she will be sharing some of her story as well. So it is going to be a wonderful event, June 26, 2020. I actually posted the registration link in the LinkedIn club. So this is another shameless plug for the club. Please join LinkedIn and then register and join us on June 26th. At this point of time, I would like to hand this over to Peggy. We are welcoming Peggy to Forbes School of Business and Technology. Her PhD program in Organizational Development and Leadership was just transferred over to Forbes School of Business a couple weeks ago. She has some exciting updates for all of you. So with that said, Peggy, it is all yours. The floor is yours.
Thanks, Maya. I really appreciate it. Good evening, everybody. I see some names I recognize among the chat and the participants. Delighted to be here. I was really pleased when our program was transferred over to the Forbes School because it really belongs over here. The PhD in Organizational Development and Leadership has been around for about almost 10 years now. We started with the University of the Rockies, and of course we merged with Ashford in 2018. So we're now fully part of the program over here. And this recent merger between our department and Forbes, I believe, really bodes great things for us as we seek to grow our organization and our student program. So the program itself, the PhD program, has both a standard course of study and 3 specializations: innovation and entrepreneurship, organizational diversity, and training and e-learning. Now, these were sunset during our recent university restructuring, but we still have a lot of students who are in those programs, so we're teaching all of those. In contrast to an MBA program, which is a shorter, about a 2-year program, our PhD program, as those of you who have a PhD know, is much longer. It's a 62-unit program with an entry point class, 10 classes that are either core leadership classes or specialization classes, a doctoral capstone, an in-residence experience, 3 separate in-residence experiences, 2 dissertation planning classes, and then of course the dissertation courses themselves that optimistically take students through the completion of their dissertation. I will tell you that most of our students take more than 5 dissertation courses to complete their dissertation. 8 to 10 is a more typical average range. So broad overview of the program. And then next slide, please. Or am I in control of next slide? I think Maya's in control of next.
I actually just added one particular slide for your program. So you may want to give them a little bit of a overview as to what our needs are, because the next slide is actually talking a little bit about the course requirements.
Okay, cool. So we're growing this program. We have a goal to really, my ambitious goal is to double our student enrollment over the next few years. Well, to do that, we're going to need to increase our course offerings, and we really need very high caliber faculty. We have a little bit of a challenge right now in that not all of our faculty are meeting our performance standards. Like Susan, we're doing IQRs. So we are very open to individuals who have a doctoral degree and have interest in teaching in our program. If that sounds intriguing to you, then please let us know. Send me a CV or send Maya or Susan a CV and they'll get it over to me. We're really looking for high caliber individuals who will really push our students to higher levels of critical thinking and learning. Eventually, we'll also be looking for more dissertation chairs, and if that's something of interest to you, you can also contact me about that. In terms of the types of courses that we have, the easiest way to probably to get that information to you is to suggest that you go to our academic catalog. You can read about each of the programs, the standard program and the 3 specializations, and you can see the courses that are aligned there, so you can get a sense of what are we teaching and what are we trying to do with the program. So, so please consider it. Consider teaching with the PhD program. Maya?
Thank you so much, Peggy. And what we're going to do in order to ensure that, you know, no one is overwhelmed, this is all now under the umbrella of the Advanced Management Division. So we will make sure that you have the appropriate course load. We will make sure we can even do a mix and match, where maybe you want to teach an MBA course and then you want to teach a PhD course next term or something along those lines. So I don't want anyone to worry, well, if I go with Peggy's team, what if she doesn't have the class for me next round? I will make sure that you guys are taken care of. But we definitely, as Peggy mentioned, we definitely need excellent people in both MBA and PhD in order to make our department and our school a huge success, especially with these new programs as we're trying to grow both of them.
And if I can just piggyback on that. So in fact, we will be going out with a public recruitment for new faculty. So if you know faculty who are teaching at other schools or people who would be really whiz-bang additions to our program, tell them to begin to watch for that announcement. It takes a little while to work its way through HR, but we are going to be recruiting for faculty in an open recruitment. So that's an opportunity for you to bring in some colleagues from other institutions as well.
Yeah, great point, Peggy. I'm glad you mentioned that. Thank you so much. Now I'm going to go into just a few kind of a back to basics. I know that just looking at the list of faculty members joining us tonight, we have some seasoned faculty members who've been with us for quite some time. I do see a few of you that joined us quite recently, because I mentioned that we had a dire need for a few MBA courses, so some of you are brand new. So I'm going to try to cover this rather quickly, just a quick refresher for everyone, because this program, this new program that we have, is of an excellent quality. But in order for it to achieve all the goals that we have for the program, we also have to have faculty that is fully meeting all the expectations. When it comes to some of the core course requirements, make sure that your instructor profile is completed in Canvas. We are still discovering certain cases where that is not done. Once you do it once, you can always update it, you can always edit it, but ultimately you just have to do it once. Announcements, make sure that you have frequent announcements. 1 is required. We prefer 2 per week if at all possible. Make sure that you're responding to your students, that you're participating in discussion forum, critical thinking, constructive feedback. Make sure that you have in-text feedback in addition to using rubrics. Post your grades on time. Thursday is the deadline for grades for the discussion board. Sunday is for the papers. And take a look at your class. If you have an automated guidance, if the guidance is already populated, don't worry about it. But if not, please make sure. We had a few cases as we're doing IQRs, as Susan is diligently working on these IQRs and also talking to some of you. We had a few cases where we didn't see that guidance. So it may be the case where you're switching from one course to another. So always glance at it. Our goal ultimately is to have all the courses with all the guidances already auto-populated, but it's still not the case with every single one. Instructor profile, just a few ideas. We're seeing some profiles that are very complete. Then we're seeing some that need some slight tweaking. Make sure you have a profile picture, your biography, your contact email, phone number. Some of the best practices, I mean, have your LinkedIn link. You don't have to put your Facebook or anything along those lines. If you have a website, why not? You can post that as well. So make sure your profile is complete. Announcements. It is minimum one a week. Please, please, please try to do 2. The announcements can be course specific, upcoming topics, due dates, your expectations. It can also be something along the lines of video, a relevant article that you just read that you feel is relevant to something that is being discussed. Make sure that you have Ashford's faculty expectations, also your personal expectations. Enhanced the late policy that is a standard recycle reuse policy. I actually just had a meeting with the academic affairs yesterday, and I have an update that I feel is very, very positive. I was never a big fan of the recycle policy, so more to come pertaining to the recycle policy. We will be going back to the old format where the recycle is not really encouraged and it's only accepted under very special circumstances. So as soon as I have that official new policy, I will send it to you. But I was, being honest, never a big fan of the recycle, because I felt that with the recycle policy, we have to decipher, well, did this student plagiarize? How much of this is really recycle? How much is plagiarized work? It's leaving a lot of things up for interpretation. So I'd rather go back to the old school where recycle is discouraged, but I will send you the info. A response to students, 48 hours is minimum. 24 is what we prefer if at all possible. Guide students to the positive learning outcome, professional tone. As a matter of fact, I'm very pleased. I haven't had one single complaint pertaining to this in quite a while. So whatever you guys are doing so far, keep doing it. Because we occasionally have a grade change request or grade appeal, and a lot of those are handled by Susan, and a lot of times we do see a scenario where you guys did everything correct. It's just that, maybe the student wasn't happy with the grade. So just continue doing what you're doing in this regards. Discussion forums, still the same thing, 100% when it comes to the initial post, posting 3 separate days a week, acknowledging the students, using their names. Critical thinking is incredible. It is perfectly fine to have some template replies. We create a database of articles, we create a database of videos. That is fine. However, students are very good in recognizing when we're just copying and pasting. So make sure that you're still personalize that particular post. Make sure that you're acknowledging the student, maybe piggybacking on something that student said, and then it's okay to use that maybe prepared response that you have with a video or relevant question for that discussion board. Canvas is a wonderful feature, wonderful LMS when it comes to links to sources, use of videos. It's so easy to insert a video. It is also easy for you to record yourself. That is not a requirement as of yet, but many of you attended instructor quality training, and we are encouraging that. Use your video, post a quick video of yourself. Students wants to see your face, and they respond better. And frankly, on a survey feedback, a lot of faculty that are using videos or audio messages, we're getting an excellent feedback because students want to create that personal relationship. This is one area where we collectively as a group can do a little bit better. We are doing great with grading rubrics. However, in-text comments, we can improve just a little bit. Please make sure that we're using in-text comments. There is a library of in-text comments that you can take advantage of. Make sure that your comments are very much focusing on the content. It's wonderful to correct their grammar. It's wonderful to talk about APA, and we should, but we are a business school, so make sure that their content is being addressed and whatever gaps they have in the content. So in-text comments, MBA team, we can do a little bit better. And I say we, including myself, we all can do a little bit better. Use of Turnitin, absolutely no exception. Susan shared a story with me earlier today where we have a grade appeal. This is our concern. The instructor did give student zeros on the assignments. Sadly, Turnitin was showing very, very high similarity, but the instructor did not submit this to our Office of Academic Integrity. After this meeting, I will share the latest form with you that we need to submit if we suspect plagiarizing in the class. And that form is the one that you're familiar with. We call it iRoad, but I will send you the latest one just in case if any of you don't have it. And this is my process. You have academic liberty, you have your freedoms to handle situation the way you see fit. If you want to coach that student and you want to give student another chance without submitting it to the Office of Academic Integrity, it is something that you're still, okay, it is okay if you want to do that. If you give that student one chance and you see the student's plagiarizing again, please make sure to submit that form. You can also decide, depending on the severity of the case, to submit the form right off the bat. So please make sure to do that. Why I'm saying this, if you see that someone just utilized a website and copied 80% of the work, this is not someone in need of coaching. This is not someone that is actually not knowing how to properly cite. This is probably a good candidate for you to report that student, assign 0 on that assignment, and then you can coach the student. But that is a little bit more severe situation. So yes, you have academic freedom, you have your own judgment, and I do coach students quite a bit in my classes as well. Sometimes it's just an issue of them using too many of direct quotes. They still cited them. I may not report that. I may coach that student how to do better, and I will ask them to revise the paper. It really up to you. But there is only one thing that is not up for discussion. We have to use Turnitin. We just simply have to use Turnitin. A little trick, those of you that were emailing me how slow it is, absolutely it is. Just hit advance. As you pull one score, advance to the next student, advance to the next student, and by the time you reach the last student, exit, go back in, all the scores will be there. So that is a little trick until we fix that system, because I do acknowledge and agree with you, it is a bit slow. Posting grades, everyone knows this, Thursday of each week. DQ grades, weekly assignments, Sunday night of each week. Final grades, Sunday night. After the last week, keep in mind, we were very flexible with the students in lieu of the pandemic, as we should be. You can work with the students. You can waive the late penalty if you want to. You don't have to if you want to. One thing though, there's only one thing, and I actually was the one to ask that question. We cannot postpone final grades. So if the student is not done and you're still working with the student, that student will have to get the incomplete in order for us to proceed further. So what you can do, what I'm doing in my classes, the very last week of class, I say, I am not able to accept late assignments in the last week. I have to submit my final grades on time. So that is one thing. If the paper is not in, don't forget to list 0. You can definitely go back and regrade. That if you don't list 0, that on the reports, that particular paper shows as if, you missed the grade, and you haven't. We talked about the iRoads already, so I don't want to dwell on this. I think I covered this quite a bit. And if you're having any issues meeting deadline, communicate with your instructional specialist. You always know who it is, because those are the folks that are sending you that introduction email. And also, life happens, especially in the last few months. I think we all experience the life happens scenario. Communicate with us. Send an email to myself, send an email to Susan. And if there's something happening where you definitely need help, please don't hesitate. We'd much rather hear from you if there's an issue of some sort, as opposed to hearing from the instructional specialist saying that they cannot get in touch with you or something along those lines. So that is on that. I thought that we were doing so well with the slides, and now I'm losing that little. Okay, so let me just make sure that I can share my screen again. It's actually wonderful. It's actually a perfect spot to end because this is the end of the presentation itself. So what I want to do now is, I think that Susan was capturing some of the questions. And Susan, are there any pressing questions that I need to address right away? Or I see there was a lot of chat in the chat pod.
I do have 3 questions. I was not positive how to address. The capstone, is 686 the same as 687?
Actually, we abandoned, it is one capstone. We abandoned idea. We actually had this, we toyed with this idea of creating a brand new capstone. What we actually did, we actually revised the simulation portion in the prior course. So it's still the same course, but the simulation aspect of the capstone is a brand new simulation. And that is the reason that we're actually having to train you on the new capstone. So when I say the new capstone, the simulation aspect of it is brand new. And Sarah is here, and I know Sarah, like I said, it's really my mistake that I didn't have a chance to give you the mic. Sarah, if you can, in a chat pod, can you address this for me? Can you let us know how lengthy that training is? So folks that may be interested, they kind of know the time commitment. And actually, Sarah, seems like you can speak. Excellent.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. All right. Yeah. So I think what we had agreed on was that we were going to do a 1.5-hour training to start. And then, of course, if there's any follow-up or individual sessions that we need to do after that, we can also do that. But I think an 1.5 hours will get us through it in the beginning.
Yes, and also Sarah, do you wanna? And I'm so glad that you can use your mic. This is wonderful. Can you just please tell us just a little bit as to what are you covering in that training, just in case for those, because we're needing only maybe 3 more faculty members, but if you want to introduce it just a little bit.
Okay, so the simulation fundamentally is it's a business that the student is running by themselves, and it's a medical reader device that they have to run the business for 4 quarters. They have to develop the plan, the budget, they have to determine how many units they're selling, the pricing, marketing spend, etc. They have to plan production, they have to order from the raw material supplier. So the training that we'll be doing with the faculty really involves talking about all of the intricacies of how to use the simulation and what they should be looking for when they're doing the grading. It is very difficult to come up with kind of a standard template of how to grade the simulation because the feedback is really going to depend on the decisions that each individual student is making. So what I've seen so far doing a class right now, there's a wide range of backgrounds of people. Some people really do great, and so the feedback is of a higher level. Some people need more of a fundamental, basic lesson on, where do I start? So it's very individualized to each of the students, and the training will go over how to look at the results and what to say to the students.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Sarah. Looking forward to the training. And if interested, again, please send me your CV. Going back to the question that Susan had from a chat pod, the number for the course is 686. We were originally intending to design a completely new course. We abandoned that idea and we actually revamped the one that we had, so it's 686. What is the next question, Susan?
Still staying on that subject, are instructors that are already approved to teach 686 automatically approved to teach 687?
The instructors that are already teaching our business simulation in the capstone don't have to be retrained. However, I would encourage them, I can post the information when Sarah's conducting the training. They can join us for a little bit. If they see this is identical to what they're currently teaching, we are not going to be offended, right, Sarah, if they just exit.
Correct.
But it may not be a bad idea just to join, because what I heard from a couple of faculty members that are teaching it right now, they say that it's almost like everyone is different. And
Yes.
it doesn't hurt to have a refresher. It especially doesn't hurt to have a refresher from Sarah, because Sarah, correct me if I'm wrong, full-time position of Sarah, she's our associate faculty, but her full-time position is with the company that designed it.
Yes,
So
that is
she's,
correct.
yeah, so she's definitely a good reference point. I don't know, Sarah, maybe you're going to sell me on the idea of teaching it myself as well. So I'm gonna attend, and you never know what may happen at the end of that training.
You'll love it. It's great.
Okay, so what is the next question?
Actually, I think the other questions were addressed, but I'll just restate them just in case anyone missed them in the chat. PhD program, there was a question if we're hiring full-time or if it's part-time only.
It is a part-time. Peggy and I and Gloria, who's a core faculty on that team, we have such a big goals. So one day maybe there'll be a full-time position, but for now it is a part-time. And we do, however, want to do an interview process. It's not going to be for the internal faculty members. It's not going to be a full-blown, the HR is not going to be involved, but we want Peggy to be able to review the CV and to talk to you and determine if there is a good match, because those courses, the level of complexity and some ins and outs of the courses is at a understandably at a higher level. So we want to make sure that we are at the comfort level. So it is going to be an interview process minus the HR aspect. Now, for your colleagues that you may recommend, back to Peggy's point, those colleagues will go through a full HR process.
Thank you, Maya. There's another post that just came in from Academic Affairs. It's regarding the IROD report, that it is available on the CETL page. So that's just a second source of where you can locate that.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for mentioning that, Haley. Haley's with the Academic Affairs, and she was able to arrange and help us with all these Zoom scheduling. Yes, on the CETL page, there are many different faculty resources. The new form's there as well. I will email it to you just as a courtesy, but it's there. The curriculum feedback form is there as well. One thing pertaining to the curriculum feedback form, those of you using it, thank you so much. Those of you that are not in habit of using it, please try utilizing it, and I will send you the link as well. And this is why. This is a brand new program. Some of the courses are being taught for the very first time. You will be the first ones to discover if there are a few glitches. You'll be the first ones to discover if there's something that we need to work on. Susan was just working on one course that was for the old MBA program. The faculty member notified us that some of the links expired. We are not anticipating with the new program that we're going to have the expired links, but we may have some other opportunities. For example, when you're utilizing a lot of innovative techniques, we're not just doing discussions and assignments, we're doing games, we're doing simulations. There will be a few glitches, but the good news is the first portion of the program that is already released, once we resolve a few of those glitches, they are not coming back to us. And that is thanks to you guys, thanks to our associate faculty. So please get into the habit of using that form. It takes, I would say, 2 minutes to complete, but it helps us quite a bit. Then we can review it and we can fix the issue for you. So that way, next time you're teaching the class, the issue is already fixed.
Thank you, Maya. One last question. How will instructors know what they're credentialed to teach?
Every single instructor is already approved for a few courses in our system. If anyone feels, based on the list that I just presented you with, I encourage you to go to the Ashford's website, and I encourage you to pull the new MBA courses. You will recognize some of the courses that you are already teaching. Some of you are already full-blown teaching in the new program. If you are not, I don't want you guys to be scared, because our old MBA version is still being taught. Therefore, we definitely need individuals that are qualified for those courses. And as we transition, we will make sure you're qualified for some of the newer ones too. But if you see a course of interest, just let us know, and we can actually look at your CV real quick, and we can qualify you for more. But we are based on your performance, you are teaching one course at a time, or a couple of you that are superstars can teach 2 courses at the time. Speaking of superstars, your performance review determines your status as far as being able to teach a little bit more. So when you get those performance review forms from Susan, when Susan is asking some of you to talk to her to help you reach that next level, I encourage you to please return her calls, return her emails, and make sure you work with her if needed to tweak a few things here and there if needed again. Or if nothing else, review the forms and ask any questions you may have in order to do as well as you've been doing, or maybe to do a little bit better. And yes, Susan is awesome. And I see the comments in the chat pod. We're very thankful for everything that she does for the team, for sure.
Thank you, Maya. I don't have any other questions in the box.
Okay, excellent. Well, guess what? Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to get back 20 minutes of your life, and you can maybe either have dinner if you're on the West Coast or go to bed if you are on the East Coast. I really appreciate your attendance. Susan was able to capture, and plus we're recording this, so that way we're going to capture everyone that was attending. You are getting a professional development a credit for this, so make sure to log in that as your professional development, because this session was counting for your professional development. Thank you again for everything that you're doing for our MBA program. We are here for you. Please don't hesitate to contact us, to email us, to call us. Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Peggy. Thank you, Sarah. And thank you, Haley, for being with me tonight. And have a good night, everyone. Good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.